Hi, good evening. My name is David, and today I'm running another session of Leverage, the RPG. So Leverage is based on the TV series of the same name. It's all about a crew of a crew of criminals and ne'er-do-wells who have decided to fight for the side of good, take down people who are corrupt and abuse their power and the like. It's run on an earlier iteration of the Cortex system, which is in the process of coming out under a new guise as Cortex Prime. A couple of really interesting properties they've signed up to it recently. The new, I want to say He-Man, and what's the other one? It's something else really big. Is it Avatar? Something like that. Anyway, they've announced a couple of tie-ins recently that sound quite interesting. So I'm interested to see what they come up with the new system. But anyway, so yeah, this evening we're playing as part of the Gauntlet, which is an online role-playing club. We have a website at gauntlet-rpg.com, which you can find a link to that down below to find out more information there. We have a number of podcasts which are well worth listening to. Really interesting stuff there. We have a monthly gaming zine, which has lots of stuff for both original games and sort of expansions, playbooks, whatever else for existing games. Do check that out. And we've just had a new edition of that launch, which I've not even had a chance to read through yet, called Leviathan, which has some good-looking stuff in it. That's, I think, all of that. Yeah, if you're interested in finding anything more out about us, you can find out more at the link below. Join up, play games like this, and yeah. One thing Dragon Prince. That was it. Thank you, Lol. I knew it was another one of those ones that was up there. We've just had some announcements recently about our upcoming open convention in October, which Jim here has the honor of organizing. I'll use that word.
And, you can use that word. That's an appropriate word. I'm thrilled.
It should be great fun. I've played for the last couple of years, and it's been excellent. Cool. So all that preamble aside, I'm going to ask our players to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about the character that they're playing, and then we'll get into things. So we'll go in character keeper order as ever. So Diana, if I can ask you to start off.
Yes, always. I go by Diana Moon online. I use she, her pronouns, and I am playing Adora Ochoa, she, they, who is a hacker. Was a former esports champion, blockchain scammer, general script kiddie, isn't one of those typical hackers where they like to stay in vans all the time. They like to be amongst people because they can hide amongst people, like they did on this last casino cruise ship run. I mean, you can't notice them if you don't think they're of importance. And that is her.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Sorry, I just lost my the window with this in. So next, Jim, if you'd like to tell us a little bit about yourself and the character you'll be playing.
Sure. I am Jim Crocker. Folks that recognize me from outside of these Gauntlet games that I run probably recognize me because you bought a game from me at some point. I'm a vendor of independent tabletop role-playing games at conventions all up and down the East Coast, the near Midwest. Hasn't been a lot of that going on lately, so I've just been playing a whole lot of games online over the last 6 months or so, and I expect that I will be going forward. But once that starts up again, I'll be back at conventions in force. I certainly hope. If you're interested in what I'm doing, if you want to hear me relentlessly push our Gauntlet Open Gaming GauntletCon edition that is coming up on October 15th through 18th, registration for games of which will open on October 1st. If you want to, sign up to run games for us, that would be awesome. If you just want to come and join us to play, you can follow my Twitter at JimLikesGames, and I've got a website, JimLikesGames.com. We're going to be probably talking about it there too. I am going to be playing the hitter, Lenny Hayduk, who's also, his nickname is Lenny Kevlar, because he's a former Secret Service agent and State Department bodyguard whose, you know, job was basically to get between bad people and, you know, the people doing the good work of civil society and government. And we don't know how he ended up not working for the government anymore. I suppose we'll find out as we play, but he is now, when if a job goes well, he shouldn't have anything to do. But the jobs, of course, almost never go, you know, according to plan. They did, you know, no plan survives contact with the enemy and stuff like that. So when that happens, Lenny's skills are called for. We also learned last time that he's actually a, if not accomplished, a competent helicopter pilot. You know, can fly. You know, can be a pilot for the group if the necessity should arise, as it did in our last job. So that is that's Lenny. Big, you know, big guy, 6'2", not huge, but like buff. Like a dude out of a, you know, like out of a CrossFit ad or something like that. So, you know, can do, you know, one arm pull-ups, you know, just without breaking a sweat, that kind of thing. So he's very fit.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And next, Lowell, if you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your character.
So my character is Eun Jung, and I am the mastermind for the group. And I'm the one who kind of makes things run, keeps things organized, and certainly not as much bulk or muscle mass as some of the people. But fair enough, fair enough. And I have a little background in some gambling that may have caused some problems before, but not right now. Everything is good. And I'm just wonderful. I'm dressed wonderfully, and I am wonderful. So there we go.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And last but not least, Philip, if you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your character.
Sure. Philip Rogers, and I am playing Sasha Pushkov. Sasha was a former a former future Olympian in gymnastics until he hit a growth spurt, and he went from being very, very tiny to very, very large. He took his agility and he became a strength acrobat from the Ukraine. He spent some time wandering around doing some things to keep himself fed. That's how he kind of ended up in the on the wrong side of the tracks. His tendency is when there's a thing that needs to be gotten, he's the one that goes and gets it.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So last time we saw our crew come together to steal from and humiliate a mobster who ran a floating casino off the coast of Miami. The crew managed to steal the collateral he was holding for the various connected people aboard the ship, and escaped into the night with it, leaving him to face the rap for failing in his duties. So what we're going to do, there's a couple of very brief housekeeping moments I want to go through first. The first one is for anyone who hasn't yet chosen them. You can, if you don't yet have a second speciality, I think everyone has at least one. You can take a second speciality now. Also, if you have not yet chosen your talents or all of your talents, you can do that now as well. You can have up to 2 talents in total at the moment. One of them has to be from your role. One can be from the general list or from another role, if you so choose. You don't have to necessarily choose those right now, but those are probably something you want to fill in at some point. The only other thing that I think people still have gaps in on their character sheets is your distinctions. So these we are still going to do in the way that they are introduced in the recruitment job. So at any point, if you want to ask another character something about their backstory or about how they've learnt how to be what they are, or any questions like that. What you can ask them. That player that you've asked can frame a quick flashback scene. And for those of you who remember, the series in that much detail, the sort of scenes I'm thinking of are like the scene with Parker where you see her stealing the bunny rabbit from her foster father. And those sort of just little vignettes of like something in your past that led up to who you are today. Once you've done that flashback scene, we'll turn to the other players and ask them between them to come up with a distinction based on that flashback you've just presented, and you'll record that in one of your distinctions. So yeah, that's how that goes. So yeah, again, as I said, that option is open to you throughout this session and further on if you don't fill them all in this session. When you have a distinction, as I sort of mentioned before, this is a bit of a wild card. It's a bit like an aspect in Fate. If it can be invoked in a way that's positive, it will usually give you a D8, unless it's like super relevant to the thing you're doing, which it might be a little higher. If it's something that would cause you complications in the situation you're in, it gives you a D4. So that's how those work. The other things I'll just quickly touch on before we get started today, just again on mechanical stuff that I didn't go into in super amounts of detail last time. One of those is in a similar manner to the TV show. Once we get towards the point of the job being wrapped up, when sort of all the pieces are starting to fall into place, we have a sequence which is called the I'm blanking on the precise name. It is just called like the wrap up flashback. This is again emulating the TV show, where we do that moment where each character has a little flashback to something that happened earlier in the session to show how there was more significance to that than we might have realized at the time. You'll kind of narrate your flashback, and then that will produce a dice that will be given to the mastermind. The mastermind always goes last in this sequence. They get to make a roll, adding in all of the dice that have been given to them by the players that have gone before, as well as the things that they think they can bring in. If they are successful on that, they get to kind of tell us how the mark gets their comeuppance as all of your plans fall into place. So just so you're kind of aware of, that's kind of the point that we're aiming towards for this session. Is sort of moving up to that point and then sort of triggering that off. So that's that. There's, I think, the only other thing I did want to mention quickly, again in terms of mechanics, is there are a couple of we kind of went over the basic dice mechanics last time, and that's broadly speaking how things. That's how all dice rolls always happen. We always do that kind of dice pool building situation. There are a couple of, we did briefly touch on this, though I didn't get that very far because our hitter was incredibly effective. But you do have, we do have the potential of having essentially like fight sequences or contested sequences where the dice rolls go back and forwards between you and opponent, and basically you keep rolling until someone can't get a higher dice result than the person before. But other than that, it works exactly the same way. The other two things we do have are sort of notice rolls and face rolls. These are both very similar. They are usually a roll that doesn't achieve anything in and of itself, but it gives you a little bit more information or lets you make an impression on somebody, and gives you basically an opening to spend a plot point to introduce an asset into the game. This is particularly if you want to kind of introduce an asset that might not otherwise be present in a scene. So it's like if you say, oh, you know, we're fighting, to use an example I've just seen in front of me, we're fighting in a corridor. Oh, I'm going to spend an asset to pick up a fire extinguisher and hit them with it. That's you know, that's cool. It's likely that there would be a fire extinguisher in that thing, and by spending the asset, you're saying yes, there is, and I'm using it. That's
That
cool.
is also so in genre. That is
Yeah.
that is an essential piece of hallway fighting equipment right there. Yeah.
Exactly. Whereas if you wanted to say, I noticed that this hallway has really bad structural integrity, so I'm going to make part of the ceiling come down on him. That's maybe a bit of a reach to just bring in as an asset. But if you have previously studied this ramshackle building you're in and determined that and set that asset up in advance, then that will be there for you to use, sort of thing. That's sort of how they work. The face move is very, very similar, except that's more about you impressing on someone else. So kind of for setting up those like social assets to use later in the thing. But yeah, though that's as much as I want to go into on that for now. We'll touch on more mechanics as and when they come up. But as I say, we've seen like I think 95% of the mechanics now, including an extra bit I introduced because I'd forgotten how something worked. That's that. So we are now going to move on to introducing our job for the evening. So the pitch I have for you this evening, and if you're not sold on this and you want to try something different instead, that is fine. But this is something I have I've kind of prepped based on what I think Diana said last time about a potential one, which is I'm quite interested in seeing seeing you pull a job at a comics convention or a general geek convention at some big convention hall out on the West Coast. The job that I am pitching, and I'll get into the more of the sort of like the in-character details in a moment, is the prominent veteran comics illustrator Max Majors has had his had his copyright usurped by his former business partner Everett J. Hunt, head of Artemis Comics. EJ Hunt is about to go into a big movie licensing deal, and essentially this is the last chance to kind of assert his claim to that copyright before kind of the opportunity passes entirely. This deal is going down at, as I said, this at ComVention 2020, the comics convention, you'll have actually been brought into this by Max's daughter Violet, we'll kind of we'll get into a little bit more about what exactly this sort of entails and how you want to go about it in a second. That is the sort of brief setup. Is everyone cool with that? Yeah, great, awesome. So yeah, as I said, it is. We can establish some of the specific details about this. I'm going to ask. I think it probably makes sense actually for this sort of first job after the recruitment job to go to our mastermind and ask how you were pitched this job. As I say, the overall client is Max Majors. He is he's an older black man. He's probably approaching his 70s. Or possibly into his 70s. He basically his first big break in the comic, or his first the comic that we'll be dealing with was first published back in the early 70s when he developed it. His daughter Violet is she is actually a lawyer and has sort of gone back through, and essentially what she has discovered is that in some of the older contracts that were signed back when the company was first set up, the way the contracts were set up essentially took Max's his copyright in the characters he created and divested them to the company itself. There's probably some irregularities with these contracts. They shouldn't have happened the way this is, but because this was now going back almost 50 years, and there have been subsequent contracts built on these contracts, it's essentially papered over the old flaws, and there's no legal way now to address these. And that's sort of the situation that you have been set up with. How do you think Violet found out about you, or knew of you already, and what made you kind of accept her pitch?
I like the idea that one of the things I was looking into is whether collectibles were a good market for hiding money, and seeing what the loss ratio would be on that. After I took a bath on some Funko Pops, then I was looking around and checking out some of the vintage comics, and the whole, like, how could I set up a fake grading for comics syndicate, and using that, there's a whole thing, because that looks like a market that you could just get into and just absolutely plunder. But in the course of this, I started maybe looking deeper in, and then I spotted this, there were probably some comics being sold off by Major's daughter to try to finance this. And it seemed weird. And I think that's how I kind of followed it back. I kind of felt, why are they selling it this way? What's going on? It seems like somebody's maybe getting taken advantage of. And that's how I followed the chain back to them.
Awesome. I like it. So we kind of have that leverage style presentation about the key players involved. So I've obviously already touched on this, but yeah. So I said you have Max Majors, who is primarily an artist. He does some writing as well, but primarily he was an artist. He is now in his 70s. He's started to get quite severe arthritis these days. His sort of drawing days are almost entirely behind him now. But he he's done okay from the business. He was one of the founding members of the company, but at the time he didn't bring any funds to the original company, so he's mostly been a salaried employee with some additional benefits, and that sort of the money from that is starting to kind of dry up now that he's no longer actually able to work as a contributing artist on the regular. His partner is Everett J. Hunt, E.J. Hunt. He is, as I said, he's the head of Artemis Comics. He worked with Max on. They were both working on for another company beforehand, back in the late 60s, early 70s. He was more on the production side of things. He's always been sort of essentially the money man. Came from some money himself. Got their company sort of started off the ground, and has been the primary beneficiary of the company's success over the years. Both of them will be present at ComVention 2020. It is it's a big, sort of multi-genre geek convention. The various important players in the industry will be there, as will obviously thousands and thousands of fans. You are aware that, or at least there is very, very strong industry gossip that Panopticon Films are looking to acquire the rights to for the Lady Danger character, which was the original character who launched Artemis Comics, as it was their first sort of solo production. And this was obviously the character created by Max Majors. If you have any further questions, feel free to ask them, and we can then start looking at how you want to go about dealing with this.
Remind me the daughter's name again.
The daughter's name is Violet.
Violet Majors?
Yeah, that's it.
I think first thing first, we need to have Adora run down what does Panopticon want out of this? What are they offering? What does that kind of thing look like here, so we can see if that's our point of entry, or if there's something about copyright that's our point of entry here.
Yeah, sure thing. So the thing actually I will give you, because that was something I didn't mean to mention, was that obviously, like I said, because of the contractual stuff, there are some issues around exactly how the copyright breaks down. However, there are some old sketches that might be able to kind of supersede those arrangements, because they predated the signing of the contract, and therefore could sort of go outside of that. However, not long ago, a couple of years ago, EJ Hunt approached Max to essentially take some of his old materials into an archive for the company. So they're sort of being so he doesn't have access to them. It's and certainly some of these materials are being displayed as part of like an exhibit at this convention. Whether the specific sketches themselves, it's unlikely those will be on display if Hunt is as underhanded as he may appear. But they're likely to be sort of kept with the collection.
Would there have been any of those particular sketches before that would have been, before all this scandal kind of happened, that would have been auctioned off for charity, so that maybe a super fan might have?
Quite possibly. Violet doesn't know of any, and Max can't remember, but that's certainly possible. It's not without the bounds of possibility that there will be some additional copies out there floating around. Though, as I said, they know for certain that some are as part of this collection. Yeah.
I mean, aren't people finding stuff like this in their attics all the time?
Exactly.
So, I mean, if we walk around saying that we've got one of these that we found somewhere, that would get their attention, right? And if we need an in.
Well, and maybe maybe we could even, I don't know if this is possible. I don't know how good a computer person Adora is, but let's
Excuse
say,
you. I
let's
am
say,
the best
the
computer
best.
person you've ever seen.
What if Sasha were to obtain a few of these sketches from the charity auction? Would it be possible, if you were to have several examples of these, for you to mock up a new page in that style?
I'm already in the process of writing an AI bot that can do that for us.
Okay.
Because Adora will not mention that she's actually not a good drawer. So, but that's what bots are for.
Well, if you want me to go to take the pages, I will go take the pages. And I do hope that we get to go to the convention after.
If we're going to take them, we got to give them back though, because this is charity.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is the thing is that the charity auctions go on later in the con. We'll borrow them early days and return them. No one needs to know that anything is gone.
Okay.
We get a site, a suite on site. We get Adora set up, and one of the things we should think about is how we either get entry or we distract either Hunt or Panopticon during this process.
Well, I mean, don't we just get entry by buying? I mean, can't you buy tickets to this thing?
Yes, we can buy tickets, but I'm saying to me to appear to be people who have some pull in this situation. I mean, yes, we could go in just as fans, but I want to be something bigger than that, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what would get their attention. I don't know. They've already got movies going after them. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the last video game of Lady Danger kind of sucked. So I mean,
was it a platformer? Was it? This is old school comics. I'm not into that kind of stuff.
Okay, so the last Lady Danger game was a fighting game, and I mean, it was cool and it was neat to be able to play like not just Lady Danger, but like, like if you unlock the right characters, you could play with her, like when she had, the Raven that fought with her, and you could like send the Raven out to attack people, her enemies and stuff like that. I mean, and that was cool, but it wasn't, I mean, I don't know. Okay, so maybe not video games.
One of the things is, if we're going to use the pages to make Hunt nervous in some way, and to get him in a position where he wants to jump, we'll figure out what that looks like in a moment. We need to create some kind of wedge between him and the Panopticon people. Either that we irritate them or he gets upset with them, something of that sort. Sasha, there was a moment I saw a gleam in your eye.
Are we talking the old Lady Danger comics, or are we talking the new Lady Danger comics?
There's old Lady Danger. Oh yeah, I guess there must be old Lady Danger comics. I don't know. I've only played the games. I don't really know anything about the comics. I don't read those things.
Well, Lady Danger has been around for a really long time, and now she's a very aggressive superhero, but she used to just be a caricature. And some of the old stuff that they don't really acknowledge got destroyed, a lot of the original artwork. So maybe we can find some of the original pages that have been destroyed that we might be able to recreate and bring them out to people's attention. Not that I know anything about comic books. Back when, it used to be, Lady Danger is, pretty violent now, but she that used to not be violent at all. It used to just be, well, kind of embarrassing. But if we find those pages,
Old people like nostalgia a lot. I mean, that's why most of anything online is reboots and remakes and such. What if we play the nostalgia angle? Like either create not create either have one of those independent web channels like Tubi or something, or Peacock, trying to do the original Lady Danger.
yes, Lady Danger, yes, she was the secretary of the Super Society, and she had the shorthand of justice. Yeah, that was very, very 1950s and very bad. So
People love that nostalgia shit, and they want to try to, like, re-feminize her and everything.
what we
And
could do,
so we would need the original stuff.
if we found the original stuff, we could create our own. We could bring out something that would be really, I'm thinking that if we found something that we could then be very upset about, we could create the schism ourselves.
Make a hashtag campaign.
Yeah. Well, let me make a suggestion here to make it more problematic for Hunt and Panopticon, and maybe perhaps draw on the fact that your own heritages, Lenny, Pushkov. What if we were to mock up a Soviet/Russian translation of Lady Danger that was done in the 1980s that seems to have some claim to the early copyrights, and that you represent a Soviet investor who may be making a claim to those copyrights. We don't have to have anything, actual, but we can put the fear of God in Hunt and Panopticon to deal with this situation.
Okay, first of all, it's Russian and not Soviet. There's no Soviet Union anymore. But that's not the kind of grift that's my strong point.
Well, but I can certainly play this, and with the two of you there to add a certain degree of authenticity to the situation.
Oh yeah, that's fine. That sounds like, if you think that'll work, I can stand there and look Russian. That I can do.
There was a period where Lady Danger was out of print, and that the copyright could have lapsed.
Exactly. And if we happen to have a translation that existed in post-Glasnost Russia that has some licensing, we can make up a cover story, things that were lost, and come in and create a problem for Hunt. Certainly that creates a wedge between him and Panopticon, potentially, if we make that a mess. And that may then drive Hunt to want to buy whatever we have as materials or something. I'm brainstorming here, spitballing.
He wouldn't want to buy it just to destroy it.
Exactly. The question is then, how do we turn that to our advantage to get Hunt to, because am I reading this right, that Majors doesn't so much care about the money, he cares about the copyright?
That's right. Violet is certainly interested in getting him at least some of the money back to help look after him. But yeah, for Majors himself, it's more about the ownership itself.
So we go in and we make Hunt think that what he has is worthless. and we make him think that Panopticon knows about this, and that Hunt needs to desperately hand this off to someone to get some money out of this, because otherwise, A, this is an albatross money-wise around his neck, and B, there are these Russian heavies who might come down on him if he doesn't play ball. And at that point, we can have Violet swoop in with a monetary offer for Hunt, like a last desperate offer. If we can get him to sell it to her, and then our Russians exit stage left. What do you think?
I think that would be a very good play, and I think our in might be, if they're going to be auctioning something off of this value, they're not doing it directly. What they're doing is they're doing it through an auction house, one of 3 or 4 major auction houses that handle the value that this kind of pricing. If they're going to be putting their name on an auction like this, they do the equivalent of a title search for everything that goes in there to figure out what's out there. What we need to do is get in the hands of the investigator the fact that these other pages exist, and let them bring that up. Then we show up.
Adora, so that's job one. So we get on site. Adora puts this in the hands of the title search / transfer auction people. Sasha lifts the pages. We get some mocked up Russian translations. Then Lenny, Sasha, and I go and have a conversation with Hunt. We'll make some play about Panopticon to make it look like they're getting cold feet. And then we put Violet into play. What do you think?
Sounds good.
I'm proud to be part of this plan. I am.
Maybe, I think, Adora looks at Sasha. Maybe you'll be able to pick up some collectibles while we're there. Since you're not a fan per se, but
I'm not a fan, but I'm
a good reminder, right? And she's being very teasingly.
And Sasha is very tempted right now, and he's trying to put on a good face of yes. No, I'm sure there'll be plenty of time for souvenirs at the convention.
Awesome. Right. So I think as we're at 25 past now, I'll call our first break here. So everyone to come back in about 5 minutes, and then we'll get into our first proper scene of the job. Let's see you all in a moment. Yeah. So welcome back, everyone. So yeah, I think we get a like one of those big sweeping crane shots coming in of this vast convention center in the hot summer sun. A big queue outside of people in various just very slightly off-brand costumes for various pop cultural figures, and likewise we kind of come into the big convention hall itself. There's obviously stalls lined up all around. There's people bustling around. There's we see some kind of there's almost certainly a sort of cameo actor doing an autograph signing at a booth somewhere, and I think where we are going to where we'll kind of see our first scene is in one of the smaller rooms off of the main convention hall, still fairly large. We see this obviously has like seating set up inside in the sort of stage at one end, and there is a woman who looks slightly out of place in here. She has a sort of neat bob haircut of steel grey hair. She's wearing a very sort of sensible black skirt suit and has those little white gloves on. And she has sort of a badge on that identifies her as an employee of Weatherby's auction house. And she is sort of she's obviously like doing some last minute business towards the stage end. She has a small sleek laptop out on the stand in front of her that she's tapping away at. So yeah, I think what I would like to see is how you're going to go about getting your start off by looking at how you're going to get around the thing you mentioned, the sort of the dealing with the provenance in here and your approach to that. Sasha, I believe it was yourself who suggested this element. Did you have a plan in mind for this, or did you want to suggest this might be more in someone else's area of expertise?
I think getting the information in there might be a little bit more electronic.
Yeah.
Getting the actual papers out might be a little bit more in my wheelhouse. Sure thing.
Awesome. So yeah, in which case, I think we'll see. I'll put this over to Adora. So yeah, the auctioneer, or at least the what do they call it?
Is she like an appraiser or something?
Yeah,
like that?
appraiser. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, is there tapping away. This is, I mean, probably for the auction that goes on here, this is probably as much a bit of showmanship as anything else. Though that said, they will be probably moving some fairly valuable pieces through here. So
So I think like right before the convention like started, Adora got badge, like not just got one badge, got all the badges. So we have staff badge, we have con badge, we have security badge, we have volunteer badge. Just every single badge that they created, just in case we need to go a certain. Because sometimes you don't want to have the all access badge because you want to blend in, because otherwise people are going to ask you questions. So she handed that out to everybody, and Adora's the kind of fan that likes to be contrary. So like they would be the Jedi in a Star Trek convention kind of thing. So since this is mainly comics and geeks stuff, I'm gonna say it's probably not much video games. Like that's like the niche. So she's in full esports gear of her former team to be like who reads comics? It's all about being active and like, doing sport like esports. To justify her very futuristic looking like glasses and tech on her, to be like, yeah, it's just part of my esports thing, where it's actually her hacking stuff. And I think I think she has the security badge on, and would be trying to talk to. I'm sorry, what was the appraiser's name?
Her name is Vicky Lomax.
Very interesting names we got here. Is to Vicky, and it's just doing like the whole tired like spiel of like to cover the convention's asses, like boring like technical jargons, like just so you know, like this space is for you and blah blah blah, and this is the nothing's going to happen, of course, but we are obligated to tell you all our liabilities, kind of boring her a bit as she's trying to like maybe as Adora has like an RFID reader or scanners to see what kinds of stuff, identity stuff that Vicky has.
Yeah, sure thing. And I think as you're sort of doing this, as you'll say, it's well, thank you for being quite so diligent. I'm sure it will be fine. I am used to dealing with priceless paintings. This is You're doing a very good job for such primitive surroundings. I think so. I think that this will be this will be a hacker role. I think, but I think it will probably be off of your agility as you're trying to kind of obviously scan it without being noticed. If there are any specialities that you want to you think this fits into, or if the other thing as well, if you want to at this point bring in an asset, you can do so. It will cost you 1 plot point to bring in an asset. You can spend an additional plot point to make it last for the rest of the session.
I think. Yeah, I don't think there's any like it's general, not necessarily a signature asset. It's just like general hacker stuff. And yeah, at the moment, I don't think any of my specialties will work. So I'm feeling kind of confident with just the 2 dice.
Yeah, go for it. So because you're sort of doing the active thing here, and it's more on whether she notices or not. I'll say if you want to roll first, and then she'll roll to see if she can beat you after that.
So 13.
13, nice. So I'm going to give her a D8 because she is a professional. But she's not particularly looking out for any sort of trouble here. And yes, that's a total of a 4. So you quite easily get you run the RFID scanner, and you can get the access that you require.
Fantastic. So I think it's just being very polite, like not rude, obviously, to her. It's like, yeah, I'm used to a little bit more high-end kind of things, but hey, you never know. With some of these fans, they might think what you're appraising is more priceless than thought.
I suppose you're right. Yes, I suppose you're right. It doesn't do to be careless.
I mean, no one wanted. I've suddenly forgot his name. Oh my god, the one that cut their ear off.
Yeah, Van Gogh.
Van Gogh. I was like, no one wanted Van Gogh when he was alive, and look now,
Indeed. You are right. And she'll sort of finish typing up what she was doing on the computer. Sort of put the lid down on it. So say, is there anything else I can do for you?
No, I think that's it. We'll have a couple. Not all of us will be costumed, of course. I just might as well, while in Rome, we'll be around if you need anything.
Of course, thank you very much. And yeah, she'll sort of just adjust a few bits and pieces, sort of straighten out some edges of tablecloths and that sort of thing, as she lets you get about your business. In which case, I think at that point I will switch back to Sasha, and so yeah, you said you are going to be trying to get out some of these like some panels from the run back in the 80s to try and mock up versions of them.
Yeah, I think that's it. We'll have a couple. Not all of us will be costumed, of course. I just might as well, while in Rome, we'll be around if you need anything.
Of course, thank you very much.
Where is it currently being stored, and what time of day is it?
So it's probably sort of I'm going to say at the moment about like mid-morning maybe. The auction stuff is going to be happening a bit later in the day. So yeah, it's still sort of about mid-morning. The convention hall is quite busy. I think a lot of the things are being held in. It is essentially just a sort of storage a storage room, a fairly big storage room. It's probably sort of one of the rooms they keep keep some of the sort of tables and chairs and all that sort of stuff in normally, but it does have a fairly durable lock, and it is you will obviously clock as you're sort of coming up towards it, or when you've done your recce on it anyway, that there are security cameras and stuff around as well. This isn't, it's not a bank vault, but it's not a they've not just been kind of like, it's not stuff that's just been left lying around.
Okay. What I would like to do is I would like to try not to go through the door if possible. So I would like to find out if it is on the highest floor in the building. And if not, then what is above? What would potentially be looking to get into?
Yeah, so I think the room that's above it is like is one of like the sort of AV control rooms. It's got like one of those big windows down onto the sort of the main auditorium. Yeah.
Well, that's perfect. If the room above it is an audiovisual room like that, that means that it's operating with raised flooring. And the raised flooring gives me opportunity to go through the raised flooring, through the ceiling into the room below it.
Yeah, that sounds great.
That would be the plan. So
perfect.
So I'm assuming it's standard 18-inch raised flooring, plenty of space, plenty of room, dusty.
Yeah.
The construction of it is. But yeah, that would be my plan, would be to identify where it is, find out if somebody or anybody is in that room, then use a tile puller, drop myself down, slide down, and figure out a way how to go from that into the room below, and use that as my point of egress. And if something happens, I can always hang out between the floors.
Yeah, sure thing. So I think as Adora mentioned, I think, and she'll definitely have been able to get you a essentially like the a support staff badge that will get you into the room itself. It probably is actually like on a key card lock, this one. Not like a super, it's not like a super secure room, but
ideally I'd want to go in as kind of an IT worker.
Exactly. Yeah.
For an event like this, they'll do contract staff. So that has the benefit of not recognizing everybody.
Yeah. And yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, and so you'll be able to kind of swipe that card, and the door will open. There is probably at the moment, because it's not like a big show or something like that. There is some like a presentation essentially being given. There's obviously someone delivering something on stage. It is probably sort of I think at this point it is probably one of the sort of mid-range companies is kind of announcing their new release schedule for the upcoming year, and there's obviously all the big splashy covers of like hinting at the twists and turns in their line coming up. There is, as I said, there is someone there. They've got obviously they've got the headset on. They're drinking. They've got like a kind of energy drink next to them. They actually seem to be like paying attention to the to what's going on stage, but you very much get the feeling more in the sense they're interested in what they're talking about rather than they're actually being attentive to the thing.
Something like this, what I would do is I would be over inclusive for somebody like that. I would walk over, kind of give them the heads up, point down that I'm going to leave my tools right there, and I'm just going to point at the floor and kind of give him the heads, because I'm assuming he's got the headset on. So I just basically say, I'm going to work on the floor, and I go, I'll keep it quiet, and I start to look like I belong.
Yeah, and I think I think that's like the perfect approach. I don't think I'm going to make you roll for that bit, but I think the guy will just like kind of he'll sort of like just turn back to look at you briefly, so, see that you've got a bag of tools and you're doing here, and he'll just kind of give you a thumbs up and turn back to watch the stage.
So at which point I pull out a tile puller, right? Assuming move over a little piece of the acoustic carpeting, tile pole, slide underneath, put a couple cones out there like a scuba diver, letting them know that somebody's in the floor there, and drop underneath and start to look for a way to worm my way into the floor below.
Brilliant. Yes. So you will. You can get down into there. I think at this point I am going to have you make me a roll with be thief and agility. I think I will roll for. I think that this is going to be. We'll call it. I think we will call the room a D8 for its security because it's I am also going to add in a D4 for the fact that there is a lot of general noise and distraction going on. The people aren't really paying attention for anything like this going on. There's lots of people moving around. There's lots of sound, lots of noise. So that is going to give you that's going to be a D4 on their roll as well. So I have rolled in total a 10, but there is also there's also an opportunity in there if you have anything that you will if you have anything that triggers off of an opportunity, there is one available there.
Nope.
No worries. But yes, with that roll, you will successfully get down into the room. As I said, there are what's in here. There's obviously some sort of tables and shelving units in here. There's some stuff is just clearly there are some like bags and stuff zipped up. Some stuff has had a bit more effort made. There are some things that are those kind of like almost like portable lockbox type things that obviously have stuff in them. Everything has like a tag on it with a little what do you call it? The things you're supposed to scan with your phone that never work. The
barcode.
Yeah, I was going to say the little square ones.
QRC.
Yes. Yes, that's the one. Yeah, and you will be able to locate the section question. That it's essentially it is in a there is like a little attaché case type thing. It is a key coded attaché case. That's there. Do you want to try and break into the case or just remove it entirely?
At this point, I would like to see if I could call in Adora.
Yeah.
And just say, Adora, it's in a secured case. Do you want the case or do you want just the papers?
I think probably. Well, is it a digital secure?
I would assume it would be a digital lock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
And I go, and if it is something that we need to open, is there a master list of combinations?
I think you hear a pause because I think Adora got distracted with like actual con goers as going about and everything, and it's like, well, there's a chance. I don't think they're that smart enough to have a Wi-Fi set alarm, so yeah, just bring the entire thing if you can manage it.
Okay. So I grab the case and I start to go back the same way that I did before.
Awesome. I think I will call for another roll here just to see if you do get spotted coming out, because that would be a bit suspicious. I think this is probably, I'm going to put another. So I'm keeping that D4 in there because there is still sort of distraction going on in general. And that's another opportunity, but the total this time is a 13.
Okay. Not good.
Ooh, no, that is not. So I think that actually what's going to I think that with that, as you come out of the hatch, the guy sort of turns around as you're sort of coming up, and he sort of like nods to you and just gives a little wave again. But as you sort of put the case down wherever you put it and turn around, you'll notice that there are like a couple of feet stood on the other side of the hatch, and there is a security guard stood there looking down. And he is. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to spend both of those. Complications that I've just got to create a D8 for the security guard being suspicious. But other than that, he's just a general security guard on the D6. He, however, is not going to be distracted because he is here doing his job. So that will be his dice pool. Or for what he's doing. But how are you going to deal with this?
I'm immediately going to complain about the fact that who the hell puts a briefcase into the access panel under here? They had an access control panel. Underneath the access control panel, they had the wide area network controller sitting on top of a briefcase because I think an extra 4 inches would try to make it work for this entire building. I'm tired of working on crazy 2-bit operations like this. I'm done working with these conventions. They're ridiculous. So I'm going to try to fast talk him.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. So yeah, I think with that we will go for. So I think I'm going to say it's going to be agility because, as you said, you are fast talking him. You're trying to just like distract him and be quick about this, and that will also be with grifter. If you think you have anything else that you can pull in on that, then feel free to say.
Let's see.
Oh, and you will also get 2 plot points for that as well.
Does the badge having the badge considered like also having additional die technically?
Is that something he could now spend one of those plot points to?
Yeah, you could
leverage,
sort of,
if you will.
Yeah, exactly. You could spend a plot point to bring that in as an asset if you wanted to.
I'm going to slightly modify that if okay with you. What I want to do is when I'm just gesticulating and waving my arms around, what I want to do is I want to open the case, slide the contents out, and then basically hand the case to the security guard and just say, can you get rid of this garbage? So I want to try to pickpocket from, basically remove it from the case.
Yeah, no, that
So
sounds
probably still, so it'd be grifter, agility, and then I would bring in the D8 for pickpocket.
yeah, that sounds perfect. Yeah.
Let's see. Out. 6. All right, that's my pool. I got a 12.
Oh, I didn't actually roll his, so I'll do that now.
Oh.
Yeah, so I think the way this goes, I think that you have got your hands on the paper, but the security guard will take it and will kind of look down, and he'll immediately spot the tag and go, what the hell, this should be down in the. And he's actually not even going to stop at that point. He's going, you can sort of see him turning around. He heads out of the door. He's got his finger on the earpiece, and he's saying, you can obviously tell that he is sort of calling this in. He doesn't seem to be stopping you. He seems to have kind of bought your bluff for now, but he has it. This is raised their suspicions. Yeah.
I walk about 2 steps behind him when he's busy on his radio for the other AV guy, and I go, officer, let me know what I need to do to help you with that report. And when I get out the door, I make a left when he makes a right. So.
Sure thing. So I think I will go over to. So am I right in that Eun Jung and Lenny, were you working in tandem on sort of your bit as the comics owners?
Well, we needed some pieces. Now we're going to have things. So I think that when we're kind of hearing this, I'm like, so Adora, how hard is it going to be for you to do this without the reference?
No, we got the reference material.
Oh, we did? Okay.
Yeah, he got the case and he was walking away suspicious, but we got the reference material.
Okay, so it's just a question of getting it back.
Yep. So I can get it back to us. It's just there's probably a little bit of heat on us.
Hang on to that. Because if nothing else, we will put that in Mr. Hunt's possession when they come looking for it.
Turn the heat on them.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Adora, can you get us Hunt's schedule? We need a time when we can roust him and his handler, where we can find a nice isolated spot. Can you ID something for Lenny and I?
Yeah, I mean, he's already connected his LinkedIn to the sked.com site. So easy to get through.
Oh yeah, direct him to a place where Lenny and I can have a pop-up conversation.
I probably would know at this point. Like, what's your disguise at the moment? Like,
I just look like I'm a very well dressed, accentuating my female features, a Korean woman. That way, when I do my cosplay as a K-pop idol later, that would be good. And Lenny's in a scary suit.
I'm the bodyguard.
Yeah, we just want a space where Lenny can sleeper hold whoever's with him. And I can have a conversation with Hunt.
Okay, so I think like Adora puts in this like new meeting and sets it as like related to Panopticon, like it's like a follow-up meeting. So of course it'd be like urgent to do this now while the hype is happening at the convention.
Yeah, sure thing. That sounds good. And I think there's a you'll spot there's kind of a good schedule in a point in his diary where the sort of the thing that he's been to, he's been talking on a panel, and that's due to wind up, and it's actually quite close to sort of one of the essentially like VIP lounge type places where there's a like an outside terrace and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so I set that up, and then I'll swap badges to go into that VIP lounge to put up a sign for like interviews in progress, so that no one wants to won't go out there.
Awesome.
So Lenny, when he comes in, whoever is with him, I want you to gently put them to sleep.
Okay. I mean, you want him to see that happen? Or...
Absolutely.
Okay.
I want him to be absolutely terrified.
Okay. I can do that.
That's our plan.
Yeah. And I think a few moments, a few minutes later, you will see EJ Hunt come in. He's of a similar age to Max, probably in his early 70s at this point. He's got kind of a sort of quite bushy white beard. He has almost got that kind of like Santa Claus type look to him, and he very much plays up to that in his public persona as this sort of like, you know, jolly, slightly eccentric older gentleman sort of persona, he is being accompanied by a fairly tall guy. He's got that sort of he's got that kind of matinee idol sort of look to him. He's got kind of a bit of lantern jaw and sort of like wavy blonde hair going on. Definitely sort of been he's quite well built as well, and he definitely looks like, he does seem like a sort of personal assistant come, maybe not bodyguard, but he looks like he can handle himself, put it that way. But yeah, he's kind of accompanying him. He's got like a little tablet out that he's kind of talking through, obviously, a few things to the boss as they walk through the door together.
They come through the door, and they're through the door. Like as soon as the door clicks closed behind them, I just step up to bodyguard guy, and I don't say a word. Like if he's doing this as they're walking in, I just put one hand under the tablet, one hand over the back of his head, just kind of walk up to him and just wham, just slam the tablet into his face. Probably
Nice.
break it. Probably break his nose. Probably break the tablet. For me, this is a judicious use of force. So,
And I'm like,
Yeah.
here, I was there imagining chloroform or a sleeper hold, and I'm like,
no. Yeah.
Awesome.
So just like up and bam.
Sure thing. So I'm going to we'll call that a I think we'll give him a we'll actually give the no, I don't think I want to make him that tough. I think we'll call it a D8 and a D6 again for the bodyguard. Again, this will be a roll with strength and hitter, and as ever, any specialities or distinctions you think you can draw into this.
I'm going to spend a plot point to use his tablet as an improvised weapon.
Nice.
Which I then step up because I have that everything is a weapon specialty.
Awesome.
Or talent, rather.
Oh, actually, though, What I am going to do, because I think this seems appropriate, I am also going to ask you to roll with your distinction as a D4 in on this, because this guy is obviously just doing his job, and you've been in his position, so
this sucks. He's gonna get fired after this, so like I know that, but yeah, so. Okay, cool. So I've got a D4 for that.
Yeah.
I've got a D for being a hitter. That is, I've got a D10 for hitter. I've got a D10 for strength. And what does that asset normally come in as?
Normally it would be a D6.
So I up that to a D8.
Nice.
So I think that's everything I've got here.
Cool. So he's got a total of 8.
I got 19.
Yeah, perfect. It goes off exactly as you described. You slam the tablet into his face, see his nose break, there's a little bit of blood, and he just does that kind of like, the sort of like stun, just like drops to the floor. And when
EJ starts to say something, I just kind of lean in and get like right in his personal space and just do this. Just kind of loom over him.
Yeah, and I think he kind of backs up a little bit. He kind of does that. He's starting to sort of like do what I'm doing now. He's like, what? But as you do that, he kind of very obviously clams up to show he's complying.
And I spin around in my chair to face him. Ah, Mr. Hunt, please come and sit. We need to have a conversation.
Of course, but who are you, and what are you doing here? What's this about, my dear Lord Edward? What did you do?
You're not sitting yet.
And he will kind of drop down quickly, and there's probably a little bit of creaking as he does so. But
and I pull up one of those artist portfolio black things. I do it slowly, so it's a little more sinister, and then I kind of start to open it, and I say, "Have you heard of Lady Opasnost?"
I can't say I have. No, who's she, and what does she have to do with any of this?
That is Lady Danger in Russian. And I start to reach in, and I'd like to maybe do a flashback.
Absolutely.
To the four of us sitting around a suite, like mocking up this page and like trying to translate and like arguing over story beats on the pages. And maybe Sasha like, no, she would never say it like that. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. He can't read Russian.
Yeah. So I'm going to. So yeah, I think that is cool. We just bear with me 1 second. So yeah, I think. I think who do you think led on this on knocking up this forgery?
I think it's Adora.
Cool.
For that.
Yeah, that's perfect. So what happens here is, if I remember this way around correctly, I think that you, or the way I'll do it, because I think because normally the way is that you ask someone else for a flashback, but I think in this case what it says, if you give that plot point, if you give a plot point to Adora for this sort of setup, and then you get that as a D6 asset.
Okay, and I have a thing where I can actually, like, when I do the flashback and spend the plot point, I can have Adora set her roll die to its maximum. So I don't know if that would improve things for a better asset or something.
Yeah, sure thing. Well, we can do that. Yeah, so we can do it sort of as an actual as an action. Yeah, that sounds good.
Is that okay with you, Adora?
Yeah, so would this be a regular asset or a temporary signature asset?
I don't know. Which would be better?
Not sure.
Why don't you create a regular asset and then we can call on it again if we have to.
Okay.
And your roll die will be at whatever its maximum value is on the roll.
Yeah, and I think this will be a roll with hacker because we did specifically call out the fact that you were using like tech to do this forgery, and probably intelligence. I'm going to go with maybe alertness, but I think both of those are the same for you anyway. So
Yeah, they're both D10s. So let me take that die away. And so for the asset, what would have been um the the mastermind's like special move? Like what would be the dice? Because otherwise, I just like the max is technically a D12. So
so yeah, it would be normally it would be a D. I think it's of when you make the roll, it's the highest dice in that dice pool is set to a D10. Is that right?
Essentially, whatever their roll die is becomes, like if it's a D10, it'll be a 10.
Sorry, yes, they're roll dice. Sorry, I was thinking it was the highest dice. So yeah, your essentially your grifter roll, your hacker dice will be set to its maximum. So your hacker dice will be a 10, and then you roll whatever other dice you have in that pool.
Okay, I'm just now understanding what you meant by that then. So you
Yeah.
don't roll it, it basically auto crits.
That's my special ability, yeah.
Okay, got it.
yeah, now it makes sense. Okay, so then I'll just roll 1d10 then.
Yeah, sure thing. Oh, I'm going to say that I think your Makerfest specialty probably counts in this as well if you want to add that D6 in.
Yes, let me do that. Since I rolled that D10, I'll just roll the single. So yeah, it would still, the highest two numbers would be the 17 then.
17, perfect. So I will you have this I'm going to make him roll to see if he picks up on the forgery. So I'm going to he gets a sorry.
I do want to make an added note because this is something Adora would totally do. So like in the hair, like ink, there is it's one of those things where if you like put a special lens over it, it will say but no one would do this. It was like only specifically like if you're doing like, like, oh, is this a forged bill kind of thing? It would have wolf chain written.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly, like Hirschfield.
Perfect. Yeah, awesome. So I'm going to give him he gets a D12 in this because he is the CEO of a comics company. This is his sort of area of expertise, and I'm going to give him don't think that will come in or that but I am going to it's going to get a regular D6 just for that, and he's also going to get in here a D4 for the fact that he's always been envious of talent. So ooh, that is 2 opportunities on that roll there, and a total of 4 for him. He as he sees this picture as it's drawn out, he clearly buys that this is an original. He has been absolutely bamboozled by this fake. Oh, sorry, yeah, Lol, you're on mute.
Let me take you back to the halcyon days of 1991 and the fall of the wall, glasnost, Gorbachev, all of these things, and certain deals struck by your company during the lapse of copyright to allow for Russian adaptation. And so we have Lady Opaznost, who appears.
Lady Opaznost! And I step forward and I like get in EJ's face and I just start like a torrent of Russian at him, with Lady Opaznost peppered in. And I'm saying, but like in the subtitles underneath, I'm like asking, I'm asking, yeah, I'm asking Ree, like, I'm really hungry. Where do you want to go for lunch after this? This guy's gonna fold like a house of cards. That's like what I'm actually saying in Russian as I'm like
in Russian, nothing in the convention hall. It's overpriced.
Nod and step back. Yeah, like
his mother was a super fan. But let's. So here's the thing. I have heard from a little bird that you were planning on cutting a deal with Panopticon Films regarding Lady Danger.
Well, of course, we had the ink isn't dry on the contract yet, but we've been working towards it. Of course, Lady Danger has always been an inspirational figure for young girls out there, and
she has worldwide, like the rights that we have to the character and to my backers. You see, with the fall of the Soviet Union, there were a number of associations that formed, a number of what is the word? Mafia that bought up a number of foreign rights.
Yeah. Mafia.
And my employers are very unhappy that you would have the temerity and the lack of good sense to attempt to step on our copyright.
This is preposterous. I never signed away any copyright to this. This is outrageous. This is nothing but an attempt at extortion.
Much like you obtained your supposed copyright through the company, we obtained it through the company during the period of lapse. I am here to give you a friendly warning, because we are going to go and speak with Panopticon a second time. They've already been informed of the situation. But I thought I would give you the opportunity to bow out gracefully, such that there need be no further complications on your end.
I will have my lawyers get involved. I'm not throwing away all my life's work just for the word of whoever you are.
I will say, absolutely, you may go to your lawyers. But right now, you will have nothing. I can guarantee that Panopticon will do no deal with you, and you will have no one that you can sell this to for at least the next 5 to 10 years. And I'm essentially putting that in his mind that he desperately needs to unload this before people realize.
Certainly. So I am going to, we'll call this is probably actually going to be a grifter intelligence, maybe.
Sure.
Sounds probably the closest fit.
And what is the asset from the pages? What is that worth?
Yeah, we'll call that a D8, I think, because it's it's being brought in a particularly flashy and impressive fashion.
All right. Well, then I am going to roll my 3d8.
Nice. So I'm going to give Hunt is going to get a D12, D8, but also a D4 because he is feeling pressure immediately, and this because of the general falling readership of his comics.
And those earlier opportunities that he had, that he gave us, those just trigger advantages. They don't do anything else, right?
That's right. Yeah, they trigger particular talents. I think they don't have any other function.
Okay.
He does, however, get one now if you have anything that works off of, and he does not beat your total.
My total is a 14.
Yep, he gets a total of 8. So, he. I think he blusters a bit more, and he heads out. He kind of stops in the doorway to kind of like wag his finger in your direction and says, "I swear, you have not seen the last of me. I will not let you get away with this. You."
As he's trying to put an exclamation point when he opens the door, Sasha's standing in the door, looking at him, and I look over and go, "Is he allowed to leave?"
Oh, say it to me in Russian, though.
Yes, in Russian.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and I think he kind of starts back again as he sees you there.
Shut the door.
I did not say you could leave yet.
So what? You're kidnapping me now? Is that it?
No. I just wanted you to know who's in charge here. You are dismissed. In Russian, he can go.
Good day, little man.
Yeah, and with that, he will scurry off. And I think we'll have another quick break now. So again, about 5 minutes. I'll just pause. Cool. So yeah, welcome back in. And so I think we've just had a quick discussion on where we want to go next. I think as decided we want to have our team catch up with the Panopticon people here to kind of firm up the idea that you're in some sort of deal together, while Adora takes care of Violet and prepares her for the that op. So I think
Also,
Adora,
one thing
I think.
Adora has changed. Yeah, Adora has changed costume. She is now in the Russian Lady Protector outfit, the Lady Danger, like all completely, and it's like very like it's very Captain America like, but obviously Russian flag and like kind of like very matryoshka kind of feeling to it to help sell this like, yeah.
Awesome.
Using her maker stuff.
Yeah, that's perfect. I think actually we'll drop in first with Dora, and obviously we see her in in this outfit. We see her with Violet. Violet is kind of just dressed like in fairly casual clothes at the moment. She's not in costume. But yeah, what do we straight that reverse? Yeah, so Adora, what's sort of your plan with to kind of prepare Violet for this?
Like with most clients, we don't tell them like 100% what the con is. It's just enough so that they don't seem like blindsided, like with anything that the person we're conning might bring up, kind of thing. So I would have prepped her a bit and basically tell, like, because there's always, in this case, we're trying to say, oh no, this came first and everything, but I would say, no, there's a big rush, like, if people know fandom, they make AUs out of everything. So this is just an AU, like a Russian AU and and we have people who have the money for it. So because Russian rich kids, we've seen those Instagrammers where like they don't care about like, paying $1,000 speeding ticket. It's a drop in the bucket for them kind of thing. So giving her that kind of like preference and I think I would have put on her just in case like EJ wants to do or if they want to do like a private talk like away from this random fandom person. She's like her necklace has like a recorder just in case we could get some extra info. But she doesn't know about the recorder. I was just like, oh wait, your brooch is a little off. Let me fix this for you, and then just slap it in.
So you're doing the Russian outfit to help press on Hunt that he needs to get this deal done quickly before Violet realizes that the Russians actually own the copyright, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like being like a fanatic fan, like example, like, oh yeah, like I have the money. I'm willing to support like Violet with this, but she doesn't know. Yeah, she doesn't know that that's this angle we're playing it at.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. I'm not going to have you roll or anything to have you plant the device on Violet. It doesn't seem that exciting a moment to make that into a roll. I don't think so. But no, that is cool. I like that prep. And yeah, so I think we're going to head over to our mobsters as they attempt to get over to the Panopticon meeting. I think I just go on. I think I'm going to, I technically don't have the complication in the minute, but I think that as you've kind of got onto this cart, this little golf cart, I think there's that, you're kind of driving down a little back behind the scenes corridor when I think you sort of pass by a couple of security guards, and these guys seem to be moving with some purpose. Like they're not just kind of like loitering around and they actually seem to be like looking around and looking for something. And as you drive past them, one of them kind of double takes and goes, "Hey, wait, that guy on the cart, he's a guy I saw in the AV thing. Hey, you there, stop." And they're both going to start kind of heading towards you.
I should probably get off. So I take a step off the cart and just drop off and let them see me duck into one of the aisles so that their cart drives off with them.
Sure thing, sure thing. So yeah, I think what's going to happen is one of the security guards is going to follow you follow you in down this sort of side passageway, while the other one heads after the car. And again, he's just going to basically be calling for you to stop and stop for a moment. And what do you do, Lenny?
I mean, I'm just gonna keep driving. I got no reason to stop.
Sure
Stop or
thing.
say stop again.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So first, I think we're going to see, as I say, we get a little shot into these like more darker corridors. In fact, these are probably even like the corridors that go down into like the sort of under the what do you call it, the like the bit under the stage and all that sort of thing. My theatre terminology has entirely left my mind, but they're going to sort of, you're going to head down into there. So yeah, Sasha, how do you plan on dealing with your pursuer?
Losing my pursuer would be easy. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make him think that he has a chance to catch me, so he stays on me for as long as possible. So what I'm going to do with that is basically cut through aisles of individual people and duck sharply around corners whenever it comes up, and let him see me right before I duck around another one. So it's I'm trying not to lose a tail.
Yeah, sure thing. Yeah, so again, I think this will be another thief agility. This is
and I think my what call it? I've got a distinction or what in parkour.
Yep, absolutely. That's that can come into play here. We probably get some shots of you like running across the running across some flats at the back of the stage and stuff like that.
And the images are me stopping, waiting, coming back, looking for him, and then doing the same thing a second time. So
awesome.
he can see me a little bit. So let's see, where is the roller?
Yeah, and I'm going to give again, we'll call it D8, D6 for this guy. He is nothing special at the moment, and that's an 8 in total for you to beat.
All right, let's see. There we go. So that would be, let's see. So it's 10, 10, and 8, or is it 6 for parkour?
6 for specialities, yeah.
All right, so that would be a 13.
Yep, absolutely. You so is your intent is to basically to get away, but to delay him for as long as possible. Is that right?
I'm trying to kite him around the whole thing.
Yeah, sure.
Not get far enough away that he'd want to call in for support, because I want him to think he's going to get me.
Yeah, that's cool. And the one who has chased you is the guy that recognized you. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, no, that's perfect. So yeah, we'll kind of see you leading him off on this merry chase through the understage and backstage areas, and then Lenny, we'll come back over to you, and I am gonna have a very brief chase sequence, just because I want the chase sequence with the golf cart.
Absolutely, yeah. So where exactly are we when they like? I mean, this is like kind of like a roadblock or what?
So I think that there's a guy kind of you're in sort of a big, like one of the big like corridor spaces. This is probably big enough. They probably like drive vans and stuff in here for loading and unloading and that kind of thing.
Okay, yeah, sure. So this is the like. I mean, I've been in a few of these spaces.
I can imagine. Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, any convention center of any size is going to have, loading docks where tractor trailers can come up and stuff like that. And then there's like a wide corridor, and then you can, where they bring the stuff. So like in terms of a place for a chase, this is amazing, because there's going to be like pallets of stuff packed up and forklifts backing up and forth and other carts and all this kind of stuff, and people, pushing like big racks filled with chili dogs and stuff like that down the hall. So
exactly. So yeah, I think we will. So I think like there's just this one guy who's like chasing after you as you sort of start to peel away. But as he's doing so, like another couple of security guards will come down, and seeing the commotion, they'll sort of start coming to you from the other side. As you, I said, you pull out into, and that you can sort of see you're kind of in this. Yeah, there's this big set of like double door, or a big roller door type thing into the loading dock area proper. You've kind of, it's kind of that like that like sort of polished flooring in here, so we've got that kind of squeaking sound as the security guards run along after you.
And I kind of whip around and sort of like drift the golf cart a little bit around the corner.
And I was going to say, and obviously, whilst this is going on, we have like the full kind of like Fast and the Furious, over the top dramatic chase music going on. So
what's funny is at one point my foot chase probably passes in front of their.
We definitely get a point where you like park off the top of the golf cart.
Yeah, totally. Yes, yeah, that's awesome.
And I look behind. I'm like, oh, too close. She's gonna wreck.
Thumbs up. Yeah, sure.
Because you move a lot faster on foot than you would in a cart.
Yeah.
What the rest of the crew doesn't realize is that Adora has been because there's security cameras everywhere, and yeah, she wipes them clean, but she keeps copies of like everybody doing like these parkour moves. She's planning to make a compilation video for TikTok later.
That's fantastic.
Awesome. So I'm going to set off this roll. I am going to add in a D8 for the to their roll for the bustling backstage area. As I said, there's a lot of stuff moving about. Actually, no, I'm going to call it a D10. Things are fairly chaotic back here. There's stuff being loaded and unloaded and stuff, but I am also going to likewise temper that with a D4 because there's also a lot of distractions that can come into play on your side. So that is, oops, I've rolled that twice. I'll be taking the first one. So that is a 13 is their highest total. And there for yourself, that will be whichever. I'm going to say it's probably going to be agility. I would argue for the attribute.
Yep,
roll
I got a D6 for agility. I feel like thief. I'm a getaway driver right now.
Yep, that works.
Yeah. So I got a D8 for that, and I am a driver, so I get a D6 for my specialty there. And I think that's probably it, right?
Yep. If you want to spend a plot point to bring in the golf cart as an asset, you can do so. I will spend my remaining plot point to bring the golf cart in as an asset. In fact, I'm going to say because of the rule of awesome assets, I think you can have this one as a D8 because it's integral to the scene.
Yeah,
so yeah,
sure. Yeah. All right, and here we go. Let me hit it. I only got a 9.
That's only a 9.
And there's a 1 on one of my D8s there.
Sure thing. So I am going to add. I'm going to give you a plot point back to bank that complication. You can, though, if you wish, with that plot point I've just given you, you can spend that to add one of your extra dice in, which would bring you out on top of that roll. Or you can take the fail if you wish.
I'll take the fail. Let's see what happens there as we go.
Yeah. So
crash into something or.
Yeah. So I think what happens is we sort of see the.
Like a big rack full of sodas or something like that.
Yeah, I think actually it's going to be like a. Oh no! In fact, that's it. You'll just be kind of coming around the thing when it's like one of those really, the sort of big like hydraulic lifter type things, but they're actually
a pallet jack is what we call that. Yes, yeah.
And they're actually dragging across the from the loading dock. This is clearly going out for some sort of exhibition. They are dragging the General Lee out the car from Dukes of Hazzard, and you have to kind of swerve to avoid it, and you kind of come up with a crash against a rack of Starfleet costumes, as the security guards surround you. As I said, there's 3 of them who've been following you at this point. There are probably more on the way. So first, I'm going to.
Oh, thank God! Oh, thank God you saved me from this madman.
Shut up! Shut up! I say.
I'm trying to. Oh, thank you.
I start reaching towards her.
Please help me.
Like for a second, I'm like, "What? Oh, okay." And then I start to like.
Awesome, awesome. So. I think if you could give me a roll with Grifter and awareness, maybe whatever stat you think most suitable.
Yeah. I like awareness.
Yeah,
these are stats that I can go with. So I'm going to roll those dice, and I'm going to save that plot point. Let me just roll this. So my first roll was a 10. Oh no, you rolled a 10. I rolled a 16.
You did, yes.
Oh, I was like, I thought that was me, and then I realized.
So, that was just me. So no, that's cool. Yes. So they kind of buy it, and one of them will kind of.
I have a meeting with Panopticon Films. If you could escort me there.
Of course.
Now.
And the one of the guards will quickly sort of he'll do the like putting the hand not quite on your back but just like behind.
He's some big fan of Parasite. He thought I was in the movie. I wasn't, and it's just it's a whole mess.
While the other 2 guards will turn onto Lenny. One of them will have drawn a taser out of the little holster on his belt, and he'll say, "So we're going to have to ask you to come with us."
As this is going on, I want to lead my chase right back there, and then I want to point at Lenny and go, "You bastard," and square off with him and kind of give him a wink. And then at this point, 2 big guys getting into a fight, people tend to back off a little bit. I want to square off with him as the Kirk Spock fight music plays in the background.
Excellent.
Actually, Kirk Spock music does play in the background because I've just put it on the speakers.
Nice.
Awesome. And
you belong in the circus, right next to the dog-faced boy.
I need this from you, somebody that doesn't even know when leg day is.
Sirs, you both really need to calm down. And the security guards are looking kind of confused at this point.
I look over and I go, "I'll handle this," and then just keep going and just do a whole lot of fighting foreplay.
Nice.
Just a lot of squaring, stretching, circling.
Oh yeah, I'll doff my jacket and hand it to one of the guards, like hold it out, like take my jacket.
And I think he will take it without even really thinking what's going on. And then I think at that point we will cut to Eun Jung being led into the meeting. We see some obvious Hollywood execs sat around a table. And do you think this is the point for us to trigger the flashback, or do you want to do a little setup first?
I think mostly what I'm doing is like providing an asset for Adora's meet. Like if Hunt comes and like sees this, this is like another push on that, you know. But I think I'm pulling out my spec script, and that I've got some papers in front of it, so it looks like I'm showing them something, but in fact. They're very confused because they thought this was a meeting for Christopher Pine, but in fact, I've got some kind of spec script. Maybe it's a real one. Maybe I've been working on it for the last year. Who knows? But yeah, I want to do this to set up Adora.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, so let's do the flashback. How do we resolve this? Everybody roll and.
So yeah, I will take us through this as this is the first time we've encountered this. If I find the right page. Yep, so the wrap-up flashback. So the way this works, it's a series of basic actions. Each of you will take one of them. This shows us either a critical moment of the job, either something that's happening sort of now or a flashback to earlier and giving it some new significance. If you succeed, then you when you've given your little flashback, you make a roll as appropriate to that. If you succeed, you spend a plot point to do this, by the way, as well. The mastermind can also spend a plot point on your behalf, in which case they also give you their mastermind dice to add to the roll dice that you roll. If you succeed, then you add a D6 asset dice, or you can set up an additional an existing asset dice by 1. Nothing can go higher than 12. So yes, that's yeah, that's how it goes. So yeah, I think we've got the setup for to see Adora's part of this first. If you would like to tell us sort of what you do to bring this plot home.
You might be muted, Adora.
Oh, I'm sorry. My father was talking to me. I did not hear the question.
Oh, no worries. Sorry. I was going to say, I think, yeah, we'll actually, that said, because I think you're with Violet, I think actually I might come back to you slightly later in the order. So I think I'm going to go to I think Sasha first. What scene would you like to set up for your flashback as we bring this plan together?
I'm going to flashback to me coming up out of the floor tiles and seeing the security guard there. I open up the case. I remove the documents from the case. What you didn't see before was me take the documents and put them onto the security guard because he's been carrying them the whole time. And you see a little RFID chip that's been blinking in his pocket. And now that we're squared away, Lenny and I use that opportunity for when Lenny throws a right cross, I roll to the ground, fall to the security guard, and then remove the papers from the security guard's jacket where I'd had them stashed.
Nice.
So I'm thinking agility, thief, and pickpocket.
Yeah, that sounds great. You can, in fact, no. So yes, you roll first on this one, and then I try and beat it. Basically,
17.
17, perfect. I'm actually not going to roll on that one because these. Oh, actually, no. So I think for this one, I am technically rolling for the mark in general. So I will add. No, I'm not. Sorry, that's the final roll. So this is just as straight. So the security guard cannot beat a 17. He is not sufficiently good. So yeah, we see this go off without a hitch. So you can create a d6 asset for that, which then Laurel can use in the final summing up move. Then yeah, we'll move on to Lenny. What's flashback do we see of you?
So what is the specific purpose of this? I don't entirely understand how all this fits together here.
So this is basically to just set up something that is kind of going to lead to the mark's overall downfall. So this can either be like a flashback to like an earlier scene, or even something that happened off camera earlier, or it can be a flashback to like what happened just now, sort of thing, or is happening whilst this is going on.
Or a plot section explaining what you're about to do.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically the kind of the summing up flashbacks that you always get at the end of the
yeah.
Like if you were to grab the papers off me now and then go put them someplace and go stash them somewhere, that would be, and then you would show like the planning session of that.
Oh, I think this is absolutely what's happening here is we flash back to you and I are like just like in a gym, right? You know, like in a boxing ring. And we've got like 3 or 4 department store mannequins set up around the outside of the ring. And like, you know, and we're like this, and I'm like, okay, let's go left. And like we kind of grapple, throw a couple of punches, and I spin around like I'm gonna punch you, and my elbow just wails into one of the mannequins, right? So like we've practiced like fighting each other in such a way that we're going to take out the spectators without them realizing that's actually what we're doing.
Okay.
Is how I would like to do that.
Awesome.
All in.
And it all happens quick. Like, you know, like we take out one and someone goes, wait, what the hell? And then we kind of spin around and boom, you know. And so if you're watching on the security footage, it will look like we were just in a fight and they got in too close and weren't doing their jobs, right? Rather than us actually going after them and taking them down.
Lenny's getting a lot of people fired today.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Like, so Lenny is getting a bunch of people fired who should have just tasered me like right off the bat.
Awesome.
Let me tell you what Lenny would have done in their shoes. So, yeah.
But yeah, no, go ahead. So I think that will probably be a roll with hitter, definitely. Might be agility, might be strength, but I'll let you split the difference on that. It's
I'll pick strength, I think. That's
yep.
Yeah. Like, because like this is like non-traditional, you know, like I'm hitting people with elbows and maybe the occasional knee or something like that, whatever. Like just throwing back, I got to knock them out hard enough, just throwing a punch back to. So, yeah. And I think that's pretty much it, right? Is the attribute in the role?
Yep. Yeah, that's probably, that sounds good.
Yeah, okay. So 2d10. Nine.
Cool. That is, they do manage a 12 on that one. So unfortunately you won't be able to add or step up an asset dice, but we still see kind of your action go off as described.
Can I be a prop for him?
Well, so let me just let me start with, does that one give me an opportunity?
Yes, it does.
So I have a talent. Badass, no problem. You know how to fight when you're outnumbered. You're engaged in a fight action, you're outnumbered, and the fixer gives you an opportunity. Remove one of the dice the fixer gains from outnumbering you.
Nice. So yeah, that will take out the
I'll remove the 7.
Yeah, sure thing.
Because
Perfect.
I'm good when there's more than one person up against me.
No, that's perfect. So yeah, that will give a total of sorry. So you will either be able to create an additional D6 asset, or you can step up the asset that Sasha created to a D8.
I'll step it up to a D8.
Yep, cool. And then Adora.
Well, maybe do I have to go last, or am I building to what Adora is doing as a finisher?
So you will be going last, but you can
okay, I've got an idea.
That's okay. You get to, when you do your final roll, you kind of get to narrate how everything fits together and how it leads to the mark going down or however it ends up. Cool. So Adora, what's the flashback or cutaway scene we see for you?
So, because Adora does not know Russian, is using a handy dandy that Google Translate app where it'll as if she's typing in Russian for Google Apps to speak in English, but she's just using the regular voice assist app on top of what she's been doing this entire time. And so the flashback is like, because most of what Adora had to do was like just react to whatever you guys needed. So had tons of free time because there was a lot of prep doing the badges. Was going through the convention center, and when she was in her e-gaming costume, people would come up because like, oh yeah, I like video games too. It's like, yeah, and the whole thing with nostalgia coming up was like, well, what old game are you? It's like, that beat 'em up game, it wasn't that great, but Lady Danger and everything. Yeah, did you know that was actually a Russian game originally? It was like, you can even, and like this conspiracy theory of like how like Tetris like had influenced the Lady Danger beat 'em up game, and you can see all these parallels, so that there's enough people talking and chattering about the Russian version of Lady Danger, and then finding this spoof website that I had created, a fan site, with this costume design and the fake and the finalized versions of these fake pages that we made of these Russian ones, like how they would have looked in the comic once they were published and everything. And so that EJ's getting notifications on his phone about like people talking about this. And there's like whispers going out through the con right now. It's like, oh yeah, like this maybe came first. Like people are coming up with their own conclusions and ideas. I didn't say it came first, but it's like, oh yeah, lots of influences,
Awesome. I like it. That's perfect. So if you would like to roll, I think. I think it's probably going to be a hacker intelligence, and I think your specialty in spoofing things is definitely going to come into play with that as well.
Yep. Okay. 16.
16, brilliant. So this one is actually going to be against the man himself. But so we're going to give him a D12 for being a CEO of a comics company. Also going to give him another D12 because he is quite driven in this, but he's also going to get 2 D4s in there for being both envious and having his company in danger. My best is a 13, so he does not succeed. So again, you can either create a new asset at D6, or you can step up the existing one to a D10.
And so I kind of narrate the finisher of this.
That's right. Yep. So the way this goes now is you get to roll with, obviously, however you're sort of bringing this all to a close.
I have an idea.
Cool. You get you also get to add in the assets that's just been created, and also any other assets that you think exist or and can be applicable as with any other role.
So I think this kind of, we see Hunt, desperately finding majors and she's makes the offer. He wants the money, signing off on that. But then I think we see me, flashing back to texting and messaging, and I've already been for the last 2 days negotiating with Panopticon on Major's behalf to make this deal. They think that they're here to meet with Majors, that this is all. And so when we get the rights, I think that I've already set up the deal so that they can get the money, and that becomes like a big Comic-Con announcement. That is what I think that's going to roll out of this. Does that seem reasonable?
That sounds perfect. Yes. So if you would like to put your dice roll together.
So a D10 for asset, since we bumped that up. Mastermind, I think. Is that okay for the roll?
Yep. That's it. Yeah. No. So this one is always with Mastermind by default. Yep.
A D8, and then I'm going to spend my plot point.
Yep.
Because this is a flashback to make my roll die a 10, and I'm going to roll my D10 and my D8.
Certainly.
Which will give me a 20.
Nice. I'm going to, I didn't change the name last time. I'm going to roll for EJ on this. That is not a 20. That is a 13. So yeah, in fact, that means that this is a resounding success. If you would like to, describe kind of these moments, and then everyone else can add in a little detail of sort of, again, think of like the last little bit we see as this sort of episode comes to a close of you.
I think we probably see the Panopticon people up on stage with Violet Majors and Max Majors and the sign off, and I think we see me in the wings in my K-pop cosplay now at this point. So I've got that, so I look like an incredibly pretty man, and I think that's the big thing, and that's the key moment for me. I'll let other people throw their montage in here.
Awesome. I'm gonna go back actually around sort of in roughly the order I did before. So Sasha, would you like to add a detail onto the last shot we see of Sasha, or something Sasha wants to see come out of this final scene?
Sasha was very excited that the fight ended, and now he actually gets to go look at the comics at the comic convention, at which point he turns around and you hear a bunch of people say, "It is him, it's Alexander." At which point, Lenny doesn't know what's going on, and you see Sasha kind of just run out, being chased by a weird pack of fans, with not really an explanation why.
Nice. Lenny, what's the last little parting shot we get to see of him?
Man, I think just like we see him like he's kind of like walking away from the the guards there, and kind of walks into the like through the back door into kind of where the con is there, kind of looks around like this, and looks at it all laid out in front of him and everything. And like almost like he's looking at the camera, says, "Yeah, I don't think so," and turns on his heel and like walks out the back door, of the convention, out into the back parking lot so he doesn't have to go through and deal with any of that.
Nice, nice. And last but not least, Adora, what's the parting shot we see from you?
Adora's switched costumes again. This time is in a full like video game character outfit that like makes her completely unrecognizable, but has a guest of honor badge on, and is actually took over a panel with a couple of celebrities, including Chris Pine, who was there for because he's voicing a new video game character that's tied to another comic book, and it's just taking over the moderation and being like, yeah, this is mine now.
Excellent, excellent. That was brilliant. Thanks very much, everyone. Had great fun with that. I'll stop the recording and thank you very much if you have been watching.